Oh my goodness, my loves. The other day, I was so inspired. I just was like, I have to do an impromptu call because I have to tell someone about this. I was like so excited and I'm so grateful that you all have joined me. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for tuning into the replay. But the other day, I was reflecting because I have just gone to, well, for a little context, I own a holistic gardening and intuitive landscape design company. It was my very first business that I scaled to multiple six figures in 7 months, only 4 months after my husband died by suicide. And blame me on the note. That's a mouthful, but I say it a lot. And over the last year, I've been called to channel $100,000 a month. After last year, I had my first consecutive $40,000 plus months, and I was like, okay, if I can make $40,000 a month, I bet I can make $100,000 a month. And so over the last year, I dove into coaching to reverse engineer how I've done what I've done because it literally happened by accident. Like there was no strategy, there was no intention, I just was gonna show up, do my job, do a really good job, as good of a job as I could with my whole heart, and bill people. And then I just kept doing that process over and over and over again. And then I was making all of a sudden $40,000 a month, but something was missing. There was something missing in my heart. And I was just like, I am being called to something way bigger than what I'm currently doing. I'm not interested in this time constricted, location constricted company, which is like I live on this little island off the coast of Rhode Island, which is beautiful and I love it here. But I want to be more free. And put in the chat right now if you are here to be fucking free, like on every sense of the word. Location freedom, time freedom, financially free, all of the things. Free, free, free. Yeah, free, baby. Let's fucking go. That's what I'm talking about. So there was this call to more freedom. And I'm like, okay, so if I can make $40,000 a month by accident, I bet I could try a little bit and make 100 grand, you know? And so I was like, over the last year, I've dove into coaching to figure out what the fuck it is that I've done to try or to channel the money that I do, which still is happening. And in April, some of you know already, we had our very first $55,000 month in April. And I was like, so it's happening. Like we had a 130% increase in sales from April 2024 to April 2025. Let's see if we can do the same thing in May. If we do that in May, we're gonna have $100,000 a month, baby. More, maybe more. And I'm not even trying to cap myself at 100 grand. I'm trying to go all the way to the fucking top. And I know if you're here listening to this now, especially if you're listening to the replay as well, and you felt called to tune back into these codes, you feel the same. Put in the chat right now if you know that you're meant to channel some fucking obscene money without any shame in your heart at all. Damn. Yep. Yes. Let's fucking go. Obscene money. Let's go. Let's go. Where obscene money is like no one understands it. It's like, I don't really give a fuck if no one understands it. Really don't care. Want to know who understands it? Me, myself, and I, and God. That's who I'm fucking referring to here. And that's why you have to refer to only in your business. No mentor, no other fucking affiliates, no la 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 la. All of that is just fucking noise. You can have these things as support systems, but bringing your consciousness before anyone else's opinion, anyone else's advice. All of it has to be filtered through your consciousness. And that's why it's so important to get grounded in what it is that is for you. So, anyways, a little bit of context. Last weekend, it's the first week of May. It's Beltane, which is a huge portal for me. My husband died and was born during Beltane portal, which is like April 27th to May 4th area in the wheel of the year. It's a pagan holiday. And the last many years, I kind of just sat in grief and a little bit of like feeling bad about myself on his birthday and on the day that he passed. And this year, the invitation dropped into my lap to go to New York City to see my mentor, Bridget James Ling, have her fucking billboard premiered in Times Square on the NASDAQ headquarters billboard. And I'm like, yeah, insane. Goodman says insane. It was fucking insane. And so what did I do? I didn't just say, you know what? like there was a little bit of resistance there at first, right? Because I own this very like my company is a landscape design company. It's a fucking the spring is the time. Like we are working every single day around the clock, getting everything installed, edged, mulched, fertilized, planted, all this other shit, right? And so, but this year I have an amazing team. I've prayed and worked my ass off to create a team of incredible humans who can be here working for me when I'm not here. In April, we did $40,000 in the first 17 days of April, and I was in Costa Rica and Nashville that entire time. I was not even here. And so I knew things were changing, and I knew that was edgy. And so I was like, you know what? I am going to go to New York City. And the last time I was in New York City, I had the worst panic attack of my fucking life. I thought I had to go to the hospital. And so it was really edgy for me to go back to New York City, especially knowing everything that I knew. And so I go back to New York City. I had an amazing time. I got all dressed up. I had this crazy fucking photo shoot. I like everything was amazing. It was so fun. And I get back and I'm like, oh my God. The secret to how I've done what I've done is that without strategy, without someone telling me what to do, is to genuinely treat your life and your business like a psychedelic experiment. And there's a caveat here. Okay. If anyone has sat medicine, you will know what I'm talking about. But if you have not sat medicine, it's still fine. This is the caveat. You must not allow your fear to outweigh your curiosity. Put it in the chat if that lands. Put it in the chat. Put that in the chat if your fear, and you can probably think of a time right now that your fear has told your curiosity to get in the back. Get in the back seat, curiosity. We're not doing that. No way. We're fucking horrified. Absolutely lands. Yeah. And so this is a very common thing, especially for people who have suffered abuse, narcissistic abuse, trauma of any sort. We have been gaslit out of our own truth in our own present state of curiosity, and you cannot have curiosity without being present. And so if you have been gaslit out of your present state enough, your brain will tell you that curiosity is not a trustworthy thing. Okay? That curiosity is not a trustworthy friend. It's not. I jump on Metamorph Retreat. Hold on, let me read this. I jump on Metamorph Retreat and might rent money and sign up 10K when I arrive, but also gone for my debt, and now I'm in fear, but moving with it double times. Well, the thing is that your curiosity simply just to outweigh your fear. Your curiosity simply has to outweigh your fear. And a lot of people talk about this in their own way. Shoshana says, don't advocate against your dreams, right? And so it's like but what she's speaking to there is allow the state of your present being to outweigh any of the fear or any of the resistance, any of the contraction that's coming up. You continue to root back into curiosity. And this is what's so fucking fascinating to me because I scaled my business to over $500,000 without any strategy whatsoever or prior business experience. How did I do that? Because I just said, you know what? Let's fuck around and find out. Let's fuck around and find out. Let's see what it's going to be like to sign a billionaire client and then pitch them. Whoa, what the fuck? And then it worked. And then I was like, okay, so I just have to deliver. I just have to deliver and I have to keep delivering. And you want to know something about this is the missing piece that no one fucking talks about in the coaching industry or the business industry at all. The only thing that you actually need is to genuinely trust yourself beyond what anyone else wants to reflect back to you, even older versions of yourself. Okay? Because the person who you are now, you would not have these desires on your heart if they did not want you back just as bad. Okay? You are the one, you are the only one, you are the only one who is going to be a catalyst for your life. And so why not fucking ride for that vision? Why not actually ride for that vision? And this gets into being literally a disciple of the vision. But we talked about that in energetic literacy, which is an incredible course. And if you want access to that course, just DM me and I'll send it to you. But Phoebe has it. But this is the thing. is that a lot of spiritual women, and all of us here are probably spiritual because you wouldn't resonate with me if you weren't spiritual. But if you resonate deeply with nature or spirit or God or your ancestors or your spirit guides or whatever the fuck, a lot of people get this one thing wrong. They disown hierarchy. Okay. And because everyone has figured out that we are all made of the same shit, we are all made of this, we're just different configurations of the same puzzle pieces, right? In our own beautiful mosaic that makes up who I am and Phoebe and Goodwin and et cetera, et cetera. Like all of these people are made up of the same different things, the same traumas, but they're all different flavors and creates the soup of who you are, right? But a lot of spiritual women, spiritual people in general, have disowned hierarchy. There's an inner hierarchy as well. So when you disown hierarchy, there's only so much that you can do because if everyone's already one and if you're already eternally and unconditionally like accepted and loved and all of that stuff, then what is the reason to do anything? It's like, well, because there's an inner hierarchy. And just as I mentioned before, your higher self is calling you forward. And the reason we procrastinate, the reason that we get stuck in resistance, the reason that we get stuck in dipping a toe in and then running back to shore again and again and again is simply because we are telling that higher self we're just ignoring them. Okay, because we for some reason feel like everyone else is just the same. We're all part of the same, consciousness, the web of consciousness here, which is true, but we have an inner hierarchy. It's actually negating the contract our soul signed prior to us being manifested into this physical form, if we do not continuously want for more for ourselves and just shoot our shot and just let our curiosity outweigh our fear and treat life like a psychedelic experiment because it is. We are spirits inhabiting these human bodies to genuinely experience life just for the fucking hell of it. That is why we've been created. This is the reason. There's a million reasons of why we've been created, whatever. This is my reason. To genuinely just be unrelentingly close to life, regardless of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ecstatic, all of it. It is our birthright to experience. And so if you hold yourself back from any of those things, the reason there's all of this inner turmoil and resistance and everything is because you're telling your higher self to fuck off. You're telling your higher self to say, you know what? No, not interested in listening, actually. I'm just going to stay here. This is why you, right now, me included, everyone, all people on earth, we only ever get as much as we can handle. We only ever get as much as we can handle. And so if you're not actively trying to continuously increase your capacity, let's just say the obvious truth, your capacity will not increase. If you do not increase your capacity will not increase. Those things go together. You cannot just be sitting over here pissed and yearning for more while actively holding up the fucking stiff arm to your higher self who's telling you to do all of these fucking horrifying things that are getting you out of your comfort zone and telling the universe that you're actually interested in playing the game. One thing about Phoenix Queens, this is part of my philosophy. Phoenix Queens forget they're in a race. We just love to run. Put it in the fucking chat right now. If you are not here to you're not here to amount any goal, you're just here to run. You're just here to run because you love running. It's about the fucking running. It's about the actual goddamn that hits, dude. That's the fucking truth. This is the truth. And when you disown your inner hierarchy, you don't want to run. Your subconscious is telling you that it's actually better to sit in meditation even though you suck at meditation. That's not the vibe, bro. Get the fuck up and let's run. Let's actually run because I'm interested in running. I don't know where I'm running, but I'm gonna find out. And when I'm 85 years old or whatever on a rocking chair, all wrinkled and a long white fucking braid in my hair, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I fucking did it all. I don't have any rocks to turn over. I looked under every single fucking rock. I wanted to see for myself everything that life had to offer for me. And you want to know what? I did it. It was it hard? Yeah. Did I get my ass kicked? Yeah. Did I get back on my horse and ride like fucking hell? Yeah. Because it's not about the race. It's about running. And it's about how you nourish yourself along the race. People think about a race. Think of the Boston Marathon just happened, right? Quick drink of water, please. Ah. The Boston Marathon just happened. Along the marathon route, what are they doing? They're giving out electrolytes. They're giving out waters. They're throwing, they're throwing waters on people. They're giving people, cold towelettes to dab themselves, right? So this is what we want to do. We want to just be focused on the race and gather as much resources and nourishment as possible that allows us to keep running. This is why mentorship works. This is why getting in rooms with other women who are doing the same shit that you want to do is works for you. This is why nourishing yourself in a disciplined practice that keeps you connected to spirit and allows you to feel held gives you the ability to hold more. The more you feel held, the more you're able to hold. Those things also go together. Just like you can increase your capacity without increasing your capacity. You cannot hold more unless you feel held more. So that when you want to feel held more, if you want to feel more secure in your life, you simply have to dial in on the discipline. Because, and this is how this, I love this so much. The one way you know if something's disciplining you, does anyone know? Is because if you fucking hate it before you start, and you feel as though your life has been changed at the end of it, that is a discipline. Okay? It doesn't get fucking easier. It's not supposed to get easier. It's just like working out. It sucks every time. Anyone who tells you that they love working out is fucking lying. Working out sucks. I fucking hate working out. You want to know what I love? After I work out, because I'm high on endorphins. It's not about loving it. And I got that before I even started my business. I started chanting because I was gonna kill myself. I was super suicidal and I'm like, I gotta do something here. And so I came to my chanting practice, which if you're gonna flip out because in June, Solstice Serenade is coming. I'm gonna chant every single day on Zoom, whether you're there or not. They're all gonna be uploaded to the portal, but it's a quantum consciousness activation. Like by the first and the end of June, your consciousness is going to fucking blow up because you're going to learn my chant that I used to fucking make $500,000 in 3 years and do it yourself. And it's like, and also if you don't want to do it, you can just fucking listen to me. It's the same shit. So anyways, that's coming in June, which is going to be so fucking amazing. But the fact of the matter is, I had discipline down packed before I even started my business. Discipline is essential, and it's not about liking it. I shoveled mulch and compost and fucking manure and seaweed with my back breaking. My hands were fucking broken with arthritis. I couldn't even hold a pen, tears streaming down my face, but I could not give up. I couldn't give up because I don't have giving up built into my DNA, neither do you. That's why you're here. You don't have, that's why, and I love what me and Goodman were talking about in the chat is being relentless. Motherfuckers are out here trying to convince us that because we burnt out before, that we can never burn out again. Well, want to know a difference between me now and the person who I was when I burnt out, when I got sun poisoning 3 times in a row and couldn't hold a pen because my hands were broken with arthritis because I was working fucking 24/7? I have tools. I know how to take care of myself. I value myself. I have compassion for myself. All of these different things I didn't have back then. That's why I was able to work myself into a fucking pulp. The reason that you burn out is because it's too much too fast. But when you have a higher level of consciousness, there's no such thing as too much too fast because you're always alert. You are always being self-aware. You have the tools now to know when something's important, you're gonna sit and you're gonna process it. But if it's not important, you're gonna let it slide off like butter in a hot pan. Okay? We're not sitting at our fucking altar, crying, writing in our fucking journal every day. That's not productive. We're gonna get up and act like a plant and grow in the direction that we want to align ourselves to. That is it. We're just going to act like a plant. And think about this, right? Psychedelic experiment. Nature is the ultimate quantum mechanic because this is how nature is the queen of fuck around and find out. You ever seen a fucking tree thriving, growing through a sidewalk? Right? You seen a tree just growing out of the fucking, subway tiles? Like you seen a plant just deciding to like literally just grow out of like a little fucking crack in the foundation of a building and just putting flowers out and just absolutely thriving because the only thing that fucks with nature's growth and its ability to thrive is external poison. Okay? Man-made poison. Man-made poisons are your shame, pain, and programming. That you learned that it was not safe to express yourself in the way that you're supposed to express yourself. You want to know what that would do? That's gonna pour fucking bleach on a tree's roots. That's what that does. You telling yourself shit that's been given to you by someone else, aka your experiences in your life or your epigenetic programming, or even just comparing yourself to someone, right? That you want to be like, then trying to fit yourself into a box. All of that is external stuff. You've seen it somewhere and you've decided to integrate it inside. All of that stuff is what inhibits your thriving, inhibits your growth. But if you just treat life like a psychedelic experiment and say, you know what? I'm gonna plant a seed over here and see if it works. And I'm just going to do my best to get as much electrolytes and wet towelettes and this, that, and the other thing as I'm running and not fucking think about any of the external. I'm not selfish. No, I'm constructively selfish because I'm building something that's way fucking bigger than me for people who I've not even met yet. That is the mission. Okay. And I know you all hold the same mission because you would not be here listening to this if you did not have a massive vision on your heart and you did not feel, all of you answered at the beginning of the chat, oh, you're maybe supposed to make $100,000 a month. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, well, that means that you're not normal. You're not average. You're not here for fucking ordinary nothing. You did not live the life that you've lived, surviving all of these extraordinary circumstances to make an ordinary amount of money. Make that make sense. You've lived an extraordinary life, therefore you're here for extraordinary results and extraordinary impact. We can argue all day about that, no problem. I'll go blue and I'll die on that fucking hill. Oh, this one's good too. This one came through today, dude. When I was driving, I was like, fuck. I got on ChatGPT and I was like, yo, I got a mouthful for you. They were like, what? Just kidding, they didn't say that, but this is one part. You treat yourself like a plant, right? But want to know what type of plant you treat yourself like? An endangered species. Want to know how many of you there are in this world? Fucking one. One left. That's it. You are the only version of yourself that anyone will ever know. You are it. You are it. You are an endangered species. This is how I scaled my business. I treated myself, even though I had all sorts of thoughts about it, and this is why I'm telling you guys this now, because you don't have to have any fucking shame about this at all. I had to unravel myself from all the shame of treating myself in this consciously selfish way of, taking a timeout when I need a timeout, telling that person no when I don't want to fucking talk to them, firing that person even though I need the help because they're not aligned with my values, deciding to dub a client who I had a $70,000 invoice out for because they weren't aligned with my values. I said, no, you know what? No, no, we're not going to do that because you treat yourself like an endangered species. And if life is a psychedelic experiment, which it is, then you are 100% allowed to do that because this is your trip, baby. This is your journey. You're allowed to treat yourself like an endangered species. You want to know what conservation efforts do for endangered plants and endangered species? They do everything. They do everything. They're out here making sure the habitat is as nourishing as possible. They're out here putting out flyers and PSAs about don't touch this plant. It's precious. You can't touch it. There's a fine if you fuck with it, yada yada, right? So you have to treat yourself and your mission like it's an endangered species. And what this does, oh, this is so fucking good. What this does is it creates an ecosystem of people who have similar characteristics as your species, but you're the leader. That's why you're watching this call, because we're the leaders here. You're the leader, so that means that you have to go first and you have to create an ecosystem that is as nourishing as possible for people who resonate with your species. You are your own endangered species. You have this whole life inside of you that no one else has. It's just you. Okay? And so what you do, all of your products and all of your offerings and all of this stuff comes from your consciousness because you are the endangered species who's going to attract similar flavors of that same species. This is the philosophy behind, and I'm sure you've heard it before, same mission, different visions. Okay? So you are the one who holds the mission. You are the one who's identified yourself as this endangered species, and that's why you've created this business that serves people who are also endangered in the same way that you are. You create things to nourish them, things that make them want to stay, that they don't even have to ask a second question. They're like, here's my fucking credit card. You get me, you see me, you've been me, I am you. Thank you. Thank you for declaring yourself as this endangered species so I can feel at home somewhere. Thank God. Thank God. Like, seriously, so fucking big. And so it's like you gather nutrition and resources without shame when you're an endangered species. You invest in yourself. You say yes to things that are in alignment with what you're bringing forward with the bigger mission, right? And you say no to shit that is not. Like, this was fucking epic. The other day, I was listening to a training that Bridget had, and she said something that was so amazing. She goes, there's nothing grounding about being broke. Bro. Bro. And this is what gets us into our very last part that we're going to talk about here, and then we're going to do a little Q&A. But there's absolutely nothing fucking grounding about being broke. And so if anyone is trying to, this is what happened to me. Last year, I was called to make a bunch of more money, right? I was like, okay, I made $40,000. I bet I could make 100K in a month. Let's see. And because I didn't want to build this business the way that I built my first business by burning out over and over and over again for the sake of the almighty dollar, I was like, no, I'm going to build it differently. And so you want to know who got my ass? The soft girl CEOs. They got my ass. They got my ass. They said, "Oh, you can do it this way." And I'm like, "Great. I don't have to work and I can make $1 million. Sounds awesome. Tell me how." But there's no way. It doesn't exist. Why? Because unfortunately, all of us live in late stage capitalism where you never have had a chance to not work. We're all been working. That's what happens. That's part of it, okay? But when you get to a certain extent like me, now I have a team to take care of things. But when you get something off the ground, you have to do 100% of it by yourself. And there's no shame in that. Okay? There's absolutely no shame in that. But you want to know what there is shame in? Shaming people who love to hustle. I'm a fucking hustler. I will always be a hustler. This is my thing. I'm like a spiritual hustler. I'm a spiritual badass because I'm super spiritual, but I also channel a fuckload of money. Why? Because I don't shame the hustle. I'm always going to be a hustler. I fucking love to work. I love to work because I love being devoted to the vision. I used to be addicted to chaos. But now, since I've evolved my consciousness and I act like a plant over and over and I treat life like a psychedelic experiment and I gather nutrition and resources along the way without shaming myself, I get to scale at lightning speed. and just fucking go for it. But the fact of the matter is, honey, we are here to work. We are here to experience life. We are here to just say, let's fuck around and find out. And then you find out over and over again. The thing about me is I'm not really goal oriented. Yeah, I have this 100K a month goal, but like God might just surprise me and just jump me to fucking 300K a month. I don't really care. The fact of the matter is I'm here for results. And you want to know how you get results? By fucking hustling. And I had never not been a hustler. Always in my life. I never played a JV sport. I was always a varsity athlete. I went fucking hard in the paint, always when I was playing sports. I always went hard in my art classes. I always went hard abusing drugs. I always went hard selling drugs. I was like a fucking hustler. I've always been a hustler. I literally graduated college with a 4.0 while I was addicted to coke, Adderall, drug, like fucking weed and alcohol at the same time. And then I went right after I graduated college to Costa Rica to get my yoga teacher certification, and I detoxed while getting my yoga teacher training. That's weird, but decided to do that anyways because why? Because I'm a hustler, because I love to hustle. And the overarching culture tried to take the spine out of my fucking back and tell me that the roaring wildfire inside of me, which is my elder self calling me forward saying, honey, let's go, feed it, feed it, feed it. You can do it. Let's go. Let's try this thing, try that thing, and call this person, and try this, and go there. All of that was being stifled because I was just afraid of burning out. I'm not afraid of burning out. The minute that you eroticize something, you take its power away. Does anyone know what that means? So I'm going to repeat it. So the minute that you eroticize something, which is bringing presence to it, essentially, and looking it face to face and saying, there's the fear. The fear is that I'm going to spiral out of control. The fear is that I don't have what it takes. The fear is that I'm somehow unworthy or undeserving or insecure, that I'm not going to be able to make it work, that I'm not going to be able to hold the responsibility. There's infinite fucking fears or whatever it is. And then we start to just implant the thing we talked about at the very beginning of this call. You simply allow your curiosity to outweigh your fear. You simply say, okay, yeah, I hear you, brain. Yeah, that was tough that time that we did burn out. That was tough. Yep. But I definitely am a different person now. And I definitely have a lot more tools than I had back then. And I definitely have these new amazing people in my life who'll be able to hold the line for me if I need them. And I definitely know all of these new things that I didn't know back then. So does that mean that my consciousness has expanded? Yes. Does that mean that I have more capacity to hold more wealth and more things that I desire and that are on my heart? Yes. Okay. That's fair then. Like, let me just see then. If that's the fact, which it is, because consciousness is ever evolving, it doesn't go backwards. Think about evolution. Do you think that birds are somehow one day just gonna evolve out of wings? No. They're always going to have their wings. They're always going to be continue to evolve into more attributes that support them in their evolution. Your consciousness doesn't go backwards. Evolution only goes forwards. And so if you've already done something, great. That happened. Let's see what can happen next. Simple as that. Let's see what can happen next. And like I used to subconsciously be addicted to chaos. And that's why I kept burning out over and over again. I kept getting stuck in these low frequency, low vibration patterns that I had from childhood. That like I wasn't deserving of support, that I didn't deserve financial security, that I all of these different things that were just coming up over and over again that kept throwing me back into chaos, that I had to figure everything out myself and couldn't ask for help. That was a big one. And over time, I had to look at what the fear was, hold space for it, be present with it, show it some compassion, and then get to work on the fucking curiosity. Let's see. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair, brain. That's fair, body. No problem. You got that coming to the surface? Sure. I'm willing to find out how it could actually be easier. I'm willing to find out how much more magical this can be. I'm willing to find out how much more supported I can be. I'm willing to find out what the next page in the story is. I'm willing to be the author of that story. Just be simply willing to be more curious than your fear, and you're gonna fucking go crazy. And now, instead of being addicted to chaos, I am a disciple of the mission. There is nothing that can separate me from my destiny. Want to know why? Because I'm the one who's deciding it. I'm not interested in fate. Fate is something that you get handed, right? So, like at the end of a movie, the bad guy gets murdered. That was his fate because he was an asshole and he deserved to die or whatever. And so that was his fate, right? That was something that he was handed. That wasn't his destiny. That was his fate. Your destiny as a person with a PHAT, fat, juicy, amazing, integrous heart is that you get to be the author of your own reality. You get to be the author of your vision. And this is why Solstice Serenade is going to be epic too, because we're going to be learning the chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo that is literally about completing your human evolution and deciding your destiny. It's all about redefining what your destiny is. We're not interested in fate here at Phoenix Queen. We're not interested in fate. We're here to be the authors of our own destiny. All of you are the author of your own destiny. We are here to literally author our own destiny, not accept what fate has for us based off of our trauma and this, that, and the other thing. Oh, well, of course I deserve that. For a long time, I thought that I deserved all of the shitty hands and the shitty cards that I was being dealt because a lot of shitty things had happened to me in my life. And so I thought that I was supposed to just be a martyr. Oh my God, Mickey's here. Yeah, you're gonna want to rewatch this replay because Jesus Christ. Um, we got the Mambe. We got the Mambe in right now. We're fucking coded. But the fact of the matter is, I thought that I deserved to suffer because a lot of bad things had happened to me in my life, and that made me subconsciously believe that I was fundamentally bad. That I was fundamentally a bad person, and therefore I deserved a lot of more bad things to happen to me. That's not the truth. That's me accepting my fate. The minute that you decide to be an author of your own destiny, the minute you decide, you hold the standard and allow yourself to calibrate to that standard. That's it. That's the secret. That is how I've scaled to over $500,000 in my business, is just holding a standard to myself and allowing myself to calibrate to that standard. When I started, everyone's all worried about all the time, am I good enough? Uh, I was not good enough at all, ever. I don't even know what that means. But when you treat your life like a psychedelic experiment, you're inherently good enough, if that's what the question is. But the fact of the matter is I wasn't good enough. I had to prove to myself over and over and over again through consistent application of new results, new pivots, new aligned action, constantly to become good enough, to prove it to myself that I'm good enough. But you don't need that to start. You just need to fuck around and find out and trust yourself that you're going to figure it out because you do, because you're relentless, because you have the ability that not many other people have to actually say yes to the responsibility and the weight and the pressure that you are being gifted. And it is a gift. And you're allowed to feel your feelings about the heaviness of it. You're allowed to feel your feelings. Of course. This is not spiritually bypassing. None of my work is spiritually bypassing. It is simply about acting like a plant. Root your brain back into that phrase every single time a resistance wants to come up and say, what would a plant do in this predicament? Oh, would they shy themselves away from the sun and because they feel like they're not good enough for the sun, so they don't deserve the rain and the sun. No, they're gonna accept as much sun, as much rain, pull as much nutrients through the mycelial network in the soil as possible, and they're gonna fucking grow. That's it. Because that's the standard that they're setting for themselves, and that is what they calibrate to over and over and over again. There is no such thing as a nature that does not thrive unless there is some external poison, which is your shame, pain, and programming. So anytime that resistance comes up, likely it's connected in some way to your shame, pain, or programming. And so you root back, you first feel your feelings if you got feelings to feel, or just let it slip off like butter in a hot pan, because I promise everyone who's watching this replay has written 30 million fucking journals by this time in their life, and they've probably processed a good amount of everything. Probably have. Okay, some big things come up randomly and you got to look at it. Sure. Absolutely. But can you just have compassion to the part that you've already journaled 30 fucking 7 pages about? Yes. Can you let it slip off like butter in a hot pan and fucking move on and keep growing towards the thing that you want to grow towards? Yeah. Does that make you a bad person? No. Do plants do plants neglect sun when they're having a day that makes them feel some type of way when they're in their luteal phase? No, they don't. Oh my God, I see Goodwin fucking cracking up. Dude, this was a big one for me. I thought that I just had to like abandon business and just all of my dreams. I was in the luteal phase because I just had like lower estrogen or something. And I'm like, no. And now, dude, luteal phase is epic. Now, every time I feel that resistance, I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking, this is luteal phase. No problem. Here's some compassion self. Moving on. Whoop. Why? Because I'm a Phoenix Queen. I don't give a fuck about the race. I just love to run. My purpose here is to run. We're runners. We're here to run in the race. This is the game and journey of life. That's a psychedelic experiment for us to experience. Let's do it. Okay, it's 7:47. I'm gonna stop the recording and we're gonna do a little Q&A if there is any.